My name's Simon Squibb and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started 18 companies, 13 of them with no money. I've invested in 68 startups and I'm going to share my knowledge with you today about Instagram. Now, Instagram, you may all know it, you may not. If you don't, wow, where have you been living? But Instagram for sure is an important tool in making sure your business succeeds. Now, I do say to people in previous videos about social media channels like TikTok, which I've done a video on, also, of course, about LinkedIn, which I've done a video on, that social media itself is quite a complicated mess. And if you're building a business, before I get into the details of how you make Instagram work for you, you might want to think which channel works best for your business at the beginning. You don't have to do them all. I personally feel like you conquer one that can feed the others. So sometimes it's good to get one channel working, and that's definitely a strategy that's worked for me and I can recommend to you. But if Instagram is your channel, then let me explain what you need to do. First up, what to put in your bio. Now, so many people miss this trick. You've got to remember, whoever's going to go on your bio and read it, they're going to get a quick snapshot what you're all about. So of course, if you're selling something, you need to put the link in there and explain what you're offering that's valuable. So many people do not update their bio and it shocks me. In addition, make sure your profile picture is easily recognizable. People so often don't know if it's genuinely you, especially if you're not verified yet. You really have to spend some time trying to match up your image to your Instagram account. And do not forget to use hashtags even in the Instagram description. These are used, that is useful, and it will help people align to other past content that you might have produced. Next up, stories. Now, you've all seen this feature, I'm sure, on Instagram, and I think it's a little bit misunderstood. Some of the content creation piece can be very similar to Reels. You can create content that can go into stories and into Reels, but stories and Reels operate very differently. When you put up a story, for example, I think it's very important to tag within the story the person that you're perhaps talking about or the product you're communicating about, or of course your own business. Now, I personally sometimes mention people within stories, but I don't want them to feel that I've thrown their Instagram message in the actual feed, so I throw it off screen and you don't have to necessarily show all the text that you've got in your story, tagging people in the actual stories. In other words, you can tag people and then throw it off screen and no one sees it, but the person you're actually sending it to will see it. That's important. Another tip on stories is you can add, for example, the location in which you're shooting the content, or you want people to connect with you within that community. So if you've gone, as I have today, shot stuff in Camden, then you can tag it and maybe the Camden community will see that and be able to connect to the story that you've created in that area. That can create eyeballs and more viewership. So even if you're not trying to target people in Camden, in London, it would still create more of an algorithm hit that will allow your stories to get seen by more people and delivered by the algorithm to more people. So it's about doing everything you can really to get noticed. One of the other features in stories that people do sometimes overlook is if you've got 10,000 followers, then you have the swipe up function. This is very powerful, linking people, for example, to join your mailing list or connect to your direct purchase page. But if you don't have 10,000 followers, like most people don't, the other thing that you can do is you can say link in bio. You can make sure that your link in your bio, as I mentioned before, is up to date. You can use things like Linktree to make sure that happens. Make sure that it's not just one link. Therefore, you're not just getting people directed to one channel or one offer or one idea. You give them choices with platforms like Linktree. But ultimately, make sure there's a call to action within the stories. That's so important and so many people overlook it. Now, I can suggest platforms like Canva and others that might be able to help you enhance the quality of your creation, but ultimately it's about making sure that you have a call to action within the story that you're posting. The next feature that we're going to explore for a moment is Reels. Now, it's a new feature, which means Instagram themselves are going to push it. They're going to want it to be successful. It's a competitor to TikTok in my view. So they're trying to do what TikTok's doing and make it very popular. So they're giving more bandwidth, i.e. more reach through Reels right now, which is why every business should be leveraging it. Now, leveraging it is just like nuance from stories. First of all, it's very important when you're doing a Reel, in my view, to capture the audience attention attention very quickly, whether that's with the text, the message, or what you're actually saying. Now, you can also follow trends, of course. There are trends, dancing trends, music trends, hashtag trends that you can tap into. But don't forget, you've got to capture people's attention really quickly in Reels because it's being delivered up to a lot of people. And if you want to get traction, you have to act like you do on TikTok. Now, I've done a whole video on how to get traction on TikTok. I've got over 220,000 followers on TikTok. You can go and have a look at that video. But it's very, very similar to that. So if you follow the philosophy that TikTok's operating within the Reels sphere, you will get traction on Reels. Another small tip on Reels that I don't want to forget to tell you is ultimately you've got to make sure that you put in good music that captures people's attention. Try to use the highest quality camera shooting you can. Ultimately, people do notice quality on things like Reels, so don't neglect it. Now, that doesn't mean to say you shouldn't put the content out if the quality isn't perfect. Absolutely you should. Don't be a perfectionist. But I have seen Reels, the quality of the execution makes a huge difference on its reach. I think that Instagram, the algorithm, is also checking the quality. It wants to deliver up this new product that it loves, the quality content it thinks it can produce that will beat TikTok. Only 2 left, guys, feature-wise on Instagram. It's really got quite crazy how many features there are on Instagram. There's only 2 left to really talk about. So the next one is IGTV. Now, this links to an important point around creating content. Now, IGTV, generally 1 minute, 1 second over your video, it will potentially want to push you to IGTV. If it's under a minute, then it will try to take you into the main post feed as a main feature. So IGTV is actually quite underutilized and an opportunity to leverage traction. So if you can create a video that's 1 minute, 1 second, then you can put it into IGTV, and I feel like it's a lot less crowded than the main post feed. Gives you an opportunity to get noticed. Now, again, like all content, the higher quality you can produce, the better. Now, typically, Instagram is a portrait featured app, so everything's taken within a portrait frame. But the good thing about IGTV, for those YouTubers out there and those producing landscape content, it actually does really well within the IGTV environment. Again, the normal things, hashtags matter. However, there has been an update recently where if you use too many hashtags and the limit is 30, if you use too many, Instagram feels like you're spamming the system and actually then delivers up your content to less people. So try to be a little bit more focused in on who you think you actually want to reach, and go after hashtags. Ironically, this opposite advice to what a lot of other people give you. I know it doesn't sound like advice that you hear all the time, but try to go for niche hashtags, not necessarily the trending ones. The trending ones, you get lost in millions of views, but if you go for the niche ones that matter to you, scale down into something that actually you really want to focus in on getting traction in, it can make a huge difference when it comes to reaching people. Now, in the videos themselves as well, I've discovered if you tag people, people can easily share those videos with their friends or be reminded to. So if you can tag people within the videos, it's always useful. Instagram loves it when someone shares your content, so that really makes a difference to the algorithm delivering up to more people. Now, finally, I would say the most boring piece about this whole video is talking about what you probably already know, posting. But I'm going to tell you something you don't know. Now, we're posting on the main feed. Now, it sounds like everyone's been doing it for years the same way. There is an opportunity to upgrade. When I look at what people are doing on Instagram, this is the main thing I see people doing wrong on the feed. They have no carousel. This is a really important feature to get you noticed more by Instagram's algorithm. If you have a carousel, and what I'm talking about is you have 1 picture, 2 pictures, 3 pictures, all posted up at the same time. If Instagram sees that people have swiped and spent time swiping through your photos, then they give you more airtime than someone that just posts up 1 image. And I see some really big influencers, surprisingly, still only posting up 1 image. Maybe they don't care, they've got enough traction already. But for you guys, if you're trying to build traction, do use this carousel feature. It would make a huge difference to your traction on your main post feed. Now, I feel like the rest of the post system, you probably know, it's been around for years. It's not a new feature. Hashtag rule applies that I just mentioned, so be careful, don't over hashtag it, and ultimately tag people exactly the same. Quality of the execution on the photos, we all know that to be true. Keep an eye on your tile plate. Sometimes when you're putting up reels, they don't look pretty. You can remove them from tiles. You don't need to have it as part of your tile plate. I do think people on Instagram have a lot of a view on someone's Instagram, whether to follow them or not, when they look at their tile framework. So make sure it looks beautiful if you can, folks. I hope you found that useful. I'm being told by Connor, who edits these videos, that I've got one more thing to say. What am I supposed to say, Connor? Connor, who does all my videos, and knows a lot about social media as well, just reminded me of something I haven't told you, really important, and that is that you have to engage on social media. I mean, some part of me thinks you probably know this already, it should be common sense, but if you want people to follow you and comment on your content, then you have to go and do the same with other people. Don't be selfish. If you are, your reaction on social media will be a lot lower. Make sure you also follow hashtags that are part of your ecosystem. So for me, I have a podcast called The Good Luck Club. So I follow the word luck. What are people saying about luck? How it affects your life? I go and then comment on those posts. That increases the traction of my podcast show. So guys, I hope you found these tips useful, but that is it, I think, guys, for today. We can do more videos in the future for you around this. This is just one for today. We don't want to make it too long so you can digest it. If you found it useful, it would mean a hell of a lot to me if you gave us a like. In addition, if you think anyone out there struggling with their social media and needs some help, do me a favor and smash that share button. Please make sure that people know about it. And finally, if you found this content useful, you might find other content that we produce useful. We do lives every week. We do insight webinars every month. All sorts of things designed to help you understand not just social media, but how to raise money, how to grow a company, how to build a business and not a brand, how to buy time, not sell time. So if any of this is useful to you, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit that reminder so that when we go live, you're there with us. Thanks, guys, for listening and have a wonderful day.